Hello, how are you?
I am good, very good. And you guys?
Who is this, Seema?
This is Seema.
Okay, are all of our speakers here? Maybe that's a good place to start. Are all of our crypto speakers in the room? Dane, are you here? Dane, are you here?
Right here.
Okay, we have Dane present. We have also present Seema, you're present.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Karen, is Karen present? Not yet?
I'm not quite sure, maybe in a bit.
Okay, cool. Rebecca, are you here? Maybe, not sure. Junofy, are you here?
Yep. Hi.
Okay, so we have 3 of the 5, right? So we're good to go, all right? But let's wait 3 minutes, everyone, before we get started. Fair?
Sure.
Junofy. Let's see if Rebecca is here. Okay, thank you guys. We start in 5 minutes. What countries do we have dialing in today, guys? Tell me, what countries do we have? Countries. Actually, let's make this fun. Let's invent a country we're from. Let's invent a country we're from. Shaheen, Hong Kong is a real country. Come on, let's invent a country we're from.
Utopia.
Yeah, we gotta write it in chat. Let's go. What country are we from, guys? Totally invented. If we had to set up our own country in metaverse, what would we call it? If we had to set up our own country in metaverse and sell land, what would we call our country?
Freedom land.
In chat. Type it off in chat. If we have to come up with our own country in metaverse and sell some land, what would we call it? Seema's laughing. I'm not seeing anything from you. Freedom land, Glee land, Glee. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's get creative here. Come on. Okay, Diana. 1 more minute and we'll get started. Let's just make sure, is Rebecca and Karen, are they in the room yet? Maybe we can.
Karen is here.
Oh, Karen is here? Oh,
Yes.
Rebecca is here also. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So in 1 minute we get started, but come on, guys, I need to see some interesting countries in metaverse. Sal's Republic of Tunis. Come on. Okay. All right, we'll get started in a minute. Cool. All right, let's get started. So an absolute privilege to have you guys here. Liana, keep an eye on everyone who's going to be coming in late. This is a late crowd. So absolute privilege to have you here. Junofy, Seema, Dane, Karen, Rebecca. Like, this is a topic that our mentor community, we all, and I want you to speak to us like we don't have a clue of anything about the community. I think a lot of times people hear crypto and wallets and it seems so far removed from all of our lives. And it's a real part of our life today, right? And it's going to be a real part of our life. And I thought, let's onboard the community and let's talk about it really openly. Like we're talking to 8-year-olds. Our last session, just to give you guys an idea, our last session on NFTs last month, we had a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old deliver the session. And the 15-year-old said, well, I've been trading for 2 years now. And it was just awesome, right? And he did his whole PowerPoint presentation and the 18-year-old did his also. And it was such an eye-opener for all of us in the community. So it's the same thing today. And there are many of us, and this session is recorded for Seema and Karen for our community that's 500 plus, that we want to open up wallets, right? At Christmas time, my entire team at Gleek, our secret Santa was you had to buy an NFT for somebody else in the company and nobody had wallets. That's to just give you an example of, I think that's actually a great promotion, by the way, guys. Secret Santa within companies and buying NFTs. So let's get started. There are going to be some questions we're going to ask all of you, and there are going to be some questions that we're going to, put you in breakout rooms. So really quick, Junofy is the founder of the India Crypto Network. Junofy, has worked with us. She's a behavioral scientist. She actually worked with us on our Gleek app, so super privileged to have Junofy here from calling in from Switzerland. Seema is Senior Officer of Custody Operations you're here in Abu Dhabi, right, Seema? The company, Mid-Chains?
Yep, correct.
So Seema is actually going to work with Karen at the end of the session for those of you wanting to open up your crypto wallets tonight. They're going to take you through that. So very, very exciting. Dane is a tokenization manager at TokenGate. And wow, ex-tennis player. I think you went to UM like I did, right, Dane? Right, I saw that note, right? So we have alum in common, and Dane is going to certainly give his take on all of the questions we have. Really looking forward to that, with your expertise in tokenization. Karen is also from Mid-Chain, so Karen and Seema come from the same company, and they will kind of be taking kind of control at the end of those of you who want to open up your crypto wallets. And Rebecca is head of growth at Zarian. And Rebecca, has a really interesting perspective because she's really onboarding and creating onboarding programming for those who are really getting into the space, crypto, NFT. So, she will give us a really, really interesting perspective on some of these questions. Now, for Dane, Karen, Seema, Junofy, and Rebecca, if I am not asking the questions that we need to know, not only the people in the room, but our entire community, I want you to say you're not asking this question and the community needs to know. Fair? Yes? Okay, let's get started. So any one of you can take this question first in terms of our speakers. What is crypto? Just real basic stuff. And maybe some examples of leading ones and new ones. So who wants to take that question? Real simple question. And any one of you can start. What is crypto?
I can.
Sure. So let's have you start first. Let's go.
Okay. So basically crypto, if we want to go basic, it's just a currency that is not reliant on any authority, such as a government or a bank. It's basically a digital representation of a value in a network, right? And cryptocurrencies in general, they use a decentralized system to record transactions, and that is on the blockchain, as we are all, I think, aware. And it is a part of a Web3, and it is very important it helps individuals own and monetize their own data, through this decentralized blockchain network, let's say. Okay. I hope this was, I try to simplify.
That's okay. That's okay. Can I tell you, we're going to get all different perspectives. Who else wants to take a shot of also giving their take on it for the community? Dave?
Sure, I could just add on top of that, just to clarify the point about blockchain. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
So I think that's exactly right. It's essentially digital money that lives and transacts on a blockchain.
What do you mean? What do you mean by digital money? Can somebody tell me what you mean by digital money? Is it like monopoly money? What is digital money?
No, it's just a unit of account. So basically, anything can be used as money as long as people are aware that it's a unit of trade between two things and it has value, right? And then that's how you could call it a currency or money. And so it's essentially money that is only native to the internet and native to blockchains. Just to briefly explain what a blockchain is basically a network of people that are validating that the transactions happening in the network are true and real and actually happening, versus currently with our financial system, when you send money from one person to the other and you use your bank acts as a sole validator and the receiving bank would act also as a validator. And they basically would record saying, yep, this transaction happened for this amount. But that can cause actual human error if there's someone at a computer who types the wrong amount or they do something wrong. So the person validating that transaction is a central authority. And in crypto, the whole ethos behind it, blockchain, is decentralization. So the idea of a blockchain is to create a network of thousands and millions of validators, which are essentially computers that say that these transactions happening between Bob and Alice are actually happening and are true and are being recorded for everyone to basically see publicly. So that's just an add-on on blockchain on what it is.
Okay. Does Junofy or Rebecca have something to add on that? What is crypto? Yes, go ahead, Rebecca.
What I would add is less about the technical definition, because I think we've got a very good understanding of that. But for people who are new to the space, I think we often think of crypto as just money, right? Just currency. And that means we often limit its value to just the value of money. But when you have the ability to create your own form of money that you can validate, and of course, there are many different cryptocurrencies, as I hope people know, this really changes the way that humans can confer power and can coordinate with each other. So when I think of crypto, I don't just think of the money, I also think of a shift in the design of incentive systems, right? So economics at its core is about incentives. And throughout human history, well, not most of it actually, it's still really relatively recent that we've had central banks be the one that really sort of monopolize the creation of money and legal tender and what that means. And I think the trend that we're seeing with crypto is a shift away from that locus of power being governments to being groups of individuals. And of course, that has all sorts of implications that perhaps we might get into today.
Why don't you tell us some examples? Because we're making an assumption that people know the different kinds of cryptocurrencies that are out there. Why don't you give us some examples?
Yeah, I think this is actually one of your questions. So obviously the two that people have probably heard of is Ethereum and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that came out in 2008, very much as a response to the global financial crisis at the time, where you essentially had banks getting these massive bailouts when arguably they had caused the chaos itself. And so Bitcoin came out saying, hey, we could have a peer-to-peer economy. And what that basically means is take the bank out of the equation. You don't need a bank to validate transactions. We have computers, we have technology that can do this. And what would it look like to have a monetary system where trust is validated by computers instead of people? So Bitcoin came out and then Ethereum followed soon after. And Ethereum is now one of the biggest cryptocurrencies because of the way that it's designed. There are a lot of programs built on top of it. So this is where you start to get a little bit more into the technology side. So again, it's not just money, it's not just currency, it's technology on which other things can be built. So those are the two most popular ones, but there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of cryptocurrencies, because we're now in a time where anyone can create their own money. And I know people often are like, oh, but how can people create their own money? In the same way that I could create a Rebecca token tomorrow. Perhaps no one would buy it. It'd be worth absolutely nothing. I've still created a cryptocurrency. And so now you have this shift of how do we value the money that we use? And I'll end this point with saying that I think it was about the 70s, Friedrich Hayek was an Austrian economist, and he wrote this book called The Denationalization of Money. And this is way back in the 70s. He predicted that very soon in the future, we're going to have a world of what he called private competing currencies. So this idea that you wouldn't have the government that says, this is the money that you use. Instead, there would be competing currencies, and the ones that we use would be the ones that we find the most value in. And I think that's exactly what's happening with cryptocurrencies. Now, they may not be private, they may have organizations and foundations behind them. But, you know, if you are living in Argentina or Venezuela or Russia or Ukraine or Zimbabwe, it's pretty obvious to you that Bitcoin is probably more valuable than holding your national currency. And that's a decision that more and more people are making. And I think we are comfortable, many of us, because our national currencies haven't failed yet. But if you look at the trends, we have these options now in cryptocurrencies, of which there are many.
Okay, thank you very much. I love that historical perspective. What about you, Junofy? Let's hear your take on all of this. And I guess one of the questions that came up for me as I was listening to Rebecca, I heard the word token, and maybe you can explain to our audience, is token and crypto the same thing? And what might be the difference between, let's say, Bitcoin and a company just setting up a token as their form? Like, can you maybe share your point of view on this whole thing?
I'm going to first start off by expanding on one terminology that Seema used, which is Web3, which is constantly thrown around everywhere. And I think it's important and very interesting to know what that is, right? So Web3 is just a terminology which is a follow-up of Web 1 and Web 2. So Web 1 was a phase where there were the centralized organizations which created information and we could just consume it, right? So this was before Facebook was the thing and so on, where internet was just new, and there were creators and there were consumers, and the consumers couldn't really create. And Web 2 was a phase where everyone became creators. So for instance, right now on internet, anyone can just post whatever they want, right? So that's Web 2. And Web 3 is a phase where we are sort of questioning Web 2, because in Web 2, there are still these centralized organizations, right? For instance, like Twitter can technically ban you. Facebook can block an entire country tomorrow, right? So we really don't have the power, and they have a lot of power. And this is sort of like a phase where we distribute that power as well. So this is like the decentralization change that we're trying to bring about. And I think that's really interesting. And
sorry, just to interrupt. I think if we want to talk about it, maybe in this, maybe just a simpler way, I would say Web 1 was more like, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just saying, it's more like the internet service providers are the ones who owned all the data. And then Web 2, where social media came along, it's more like private firms owns your data and you gave them for free, right? You gave it and they have your data. And then Web 3 came along. It's where you own it and you monetize your own data in a decentralized network. So it's like a complete, like it's like a complete given data, then you give it for free. And now it's you who's actually controlling everything that you own, right?
Okay, good feedback, both of you. Junofy, do you want to keep adding and then I'll go to the next question?
Right, to get back to the question on tokens, so tokens could be anything, right? So baseball cards could be tokens. So tokens could be of multiple use. Certain tokens could give you an entry into a party. Certain tokens can be used to buy pizza. Certain tokens can be used to get into a gang of friends, right? So tokens can be used for literally anything. And different tokens that come about right now have very specific use cases. For instance, Bitcoin is often used as a currency. Whereas
so a token is crypto. Is token crypto? Do you use that word interchangeably, guys? Yes? Oh, you do. Okay, so I'm seeing Rebecca going yes. Dane, do you think you use that word interchangeably? Crypto and tokens?
I think most of the time, although there are cases when tokens are not cryptos, and that can happen a lot of times. For example, if you're trading a security, that if the underlying asset is something totally different and you're just trading token as a representation of something else, it's actually not a cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is something that's native to a blockchain. So
okay,
at least
so technically everything is a token and crypto is a form of a token, correct? Or no?
Yes.
Maybe I'll just chime in here.
Yeah, go ahead, Rebecca. I'm asking, hold on, I told you guys we're all beginners here, right? So I'm going to ask the question.
We are beginners too, right? And honestly, I do want to say this highlights there is a massive terminology problem. I mean, we in the industry get bogged down by these terms. You're quite right. So from a technical standpoint, anything's a token. Token is it's really just when you talk about the blockchain and the the piece of information that gets shared, that's the token. And I think, as Junofy was saying, the token can be the Bitcoin, it could be your NFT, it could be your baseball card, anything can be a token. But of course, in day-to-day language, it's very helpful to differentiate, because in the same way that I wouldn't use a baseball card for my everyday money, I might not want to call that cryptocurrency, right? It's like, yes, it's a token, but we need to distinguish between the different functions that these tokens might have. And really, I don't want people to be confused by that. Just use the term crypto, it's fine.
Okay. I think we're all new to it anyways.
Yeah, all right. So Junofy, is there something else you want to add before I get to the second question?
No, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, are there any new cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin and Ethereum that we should be looking at? You know, I noticed that recently there are index funds now of different series of crypto. So, you know, that would be my question to you, because, you know, we all know the two. And, you know, guys, I have to share a story. I have to share a crypto story. So I know nothing about the space. I just asked like probably a dumb question, but it's okay. But I did buy Bitcoin when it was trading at 4,000. I opened up my first wallet, and I remember it was a BitOasis, and I started putting aside, it was $500 a month, buying crypto. And my entire family, everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you buying? Like, you're going to lose. And I was just like, I'm just not going to spend that on other stuff. And have been like collecting Bitcoin since, you know, now I don't know. Does anybody know what Bitcoin is at right now? Maybe Karen and Seema, what is Bitcoin at right now?
I think it's about somewhere around 40 something. I haven't checked today.
40 some thousand. Yeah, it's gone up like tenfold, right?
It's gone up, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of pretty cool, right? Like,
are you secretly a millionaire?
I don't know. I haven't, can I tell you, I don't even check. People ask me all the time. I'm like, I don't know, but
no
I know.
way.
Yeah, I know I bought a whole bunch. It's 46,000. Kishan is going Bitcoin right now. Okay, cool. All right. And we answered that question. Is crypto governed like real money? Explain blockchain versus central bank. So I have a question for you guys, that you guys were talking about blockchain. If anyone wants to see, like, do we see the blockchain? Where do we go and see the blockchain? Who can answer that? Like we can Google and see what currency is trading. I can go see what the US dollar is today. How do I figure out this whole blockchain that you're telling us it's validated? Like, where does that exist?
You can actually see it. So of course, bearing in mind that there are different blockchains. Bitcoin has its own blockchain. Ethereum has its own blockchain. But the very cool thing about blockchains is that they're completely transparent. So if you went to a site called etherscan.io right now, you would see, oh, there we go, Dane just shared it in the chat. You would see every single transaction coming through. And when I say every single, I mean every single one. If I knew Seema's wallet address, for example, I could put in Seema's wallet address and I could see every single asset that she owns. If she makes a trade, I could see it happening in real time. Now, I don't know of any similar site for the US dollar. There's no place where you can go and see every single dollar that's trading in real time. But with blockchains, you can, because everything is tracked. Everything is a token that has a representation on the blockchain.
So technically, if I put this in human terms, it's like having the wallet is like having someone's bank account number, and you can see all the transactions in their bank account number. And on blockchain, your wallet allows you to see all the transactions on the blockchain.
So you can see them, but of course, you can't make them, right? So I think there's sometimes a sense of, oh, can people touch my money if they can see it? And it's like, no, you could see it, but unless you have what we call the private keys to those wallets, which we'll get into later, it's not like you have access to the money. So there's no security risk in having this level of transparency.
But what about people seeing what you're up to every day? Like, you know, that sense of like, they can check, I bought coffee, you know, you can see someone's life basically.
Yeah, so they'll have to have your wallet address, and technically you could have 1,000 wallet addresses as well, right? So there is some kind of privacy there, but yeah, it is completely out there, so you can technically see everything.
The people being able to see your wallet address is like the equivalent of being able to see people's IBANs and the transactions that they're making. So technically, you could probably find out somehow, but a lot of people prefer to stay anonymous by just having their wallet addresses, which again is like an IBAN. So people might not be able to tell who that person is, which causes a lot of questions with regulators, which we might get into later, because people might not always know who's operating behind that wallet address.
Okay, all right. So we're going to go in to a quick breakout room, and all of you, we're going to post these questions in chat. So everyone's going to be divided up. We're going to just have 2 breakout rooms. Liana, are you here?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to have 2 breakout rooms. We can divide up our speakers, kind of like maybe we'll set Seema in one and Karen in one, and then have Junofy and Dane and Rebecca join them. And we're going to ask and answer questions around, and you guys will get to know the audience here. Who can I buy and sell my crypto from? Is it regulated? Like, what happens if it got stolen? And there was a big crypto story about crypto that got stolen recently. And I want you guys to talk about that. Let's have the breakout room for about 8 minutes. Liana?
Sure, setting it up.
Perfect, perfect. So, let's kind of be able to do that. I have a quick question for you guys. So, while Liana is getting the breakout room set up, how many people in the room, let's do a quick poll, actually has a wallet? Let's see if you have a wallet right now, a crypto wallet. Let's see by you raise of hands. How many of you have a crypto wallet? 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right, I'm seeing some of you raising your hands. So yeah, there's not a lot of you, huh? Raise hand, yeah, okay, I'm seeing me. So Kit, raise hand in your reactions if you have a crypto wallet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Junofy is 5. Shaima is 6. Oh my God, the majority of the room does not have a crypto wallet. Okay, cool. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. Kyra has a crypto wallet. Okay, cool. Very cool. All right. Are you ready, Liana? Okay, cool.
Yes, we are.
So we're going into 2 breakout rooms, and we're talking about 2 things. How do I trade, buy and sell when it comes to cryptocurrency? And we're also going to talk about how is it regulated? Like, we're going to talk about, there was recently, a huge story about, cryptocurrency being stolen. Like, how did that happen if it's all open and if it's all regulated? So 2 breakout rooms, let's jump into those rooms, guys, and get to know the audience. Are we back? There we go. Okay, who's going to unpack what happened in those rooms? Maybe our hosts, who can unpack what happened in their room for us? Rebecca, maybe you go, and then Seema? Or were you in different rooms or same rooms?
Yeah, different rooms.
Okay, Seema, what happened in your room?
I was just trying to explain how is regulated a bit different than unregulated. But I still had some questions that I needed to answer, and I'll definitely maybe answer them as we speak. And I explained how is custody or custodian, especially a part of mid-chains, being a part of mid-chains, how we actually store our keys and how we create our wallets, let's say, and what else did I say? And our technology of the custodian side in the system.
Okay. And Rebecca, what happened in your room?
So we had some more practical questions around people's trading history. We talked about the need for having a set time frame when you're investing, right? This is a very volatile market. So what happens when it feels like the price is crashing, and is it something you can hold on to for a shorter or longer term? And then we also had another practical question around the tools that can be used. One of the guests in our room was actually trying to build a platform for trading stocks and crypto. And so there was just some questions around what would be a good place to look at. And I think we had a link shared. I don't know if maybe we can also just share that in the general chat. Junofy, did you? Oh, right, that went to everyone anyway. So there's the link. It was just sites for tracking different cryptocurrencies and keeping up with the market.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So I have a question for you guys, which was the next question. Why is, and any one of the speakers can take it, is why is crypto kind of the choice currency when it comes to NFTs? Question. Like, why can't some NFTs I just kind of just go and do a bank wire transfer to buy it?
I might answer this. I'm not quite so sure, but maybe because these tokens are basically like maybe generated on a blockchain, and it makes them easily storable in a wallet and maybe tradable against crypto. I'm not quite sure, but maybe someone else can also elaborate on that. Or
okay,
you can
sure.
actually.
Dane.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say you can actually buy NFTs with fiat money, with credit cards or bank transfers. It just depends on the person who's selling it to accept that. And so in those situations, you're actually just dealing one for one with the counterparty. So they accept it, and then they send you the NFT. So in those ways, if you're not dealing in a decentralized system, then yes, you can accept fiat, technically real money for NFTs.
Okay, Junofy, you have a take on this?
No, I was just going to say that. So a lot of people are actually moving away from crypto as well, just to include a wider range of people in their NFT market. So yeah, you can technically buy an NFT with just normal currencies that we use.
Okay. All right. Rebecca, you have a take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously you can buy with other currencies, but the thing to remember with an NFT is that an NFT is itself a token on the blockchain. And so even if you buy an NFT with US dollars, if you don't have a wallet, then you technically don't own that NFT. That would be a case of custody, right? So maybe someone gives you the NFT, or in the same way that when you use a centralized exchange, those tokens aren't actually yours. Someone's holding your money on behalf of you, in the same way that we don't rarely owe the money in our bank accounts, right? The bank owns that money, and we just rarely trust the bank to move it when we ask it to, which it does, and in some cases it doesn't. So the thing with NFTs to remember is that unless a crypto or an NFT or a token, whatever the case is, unless the thing is in a wallet that you own yourself, it's actually not your money. You are trusting some third party to own it on your behalf. And that's a very important distinction. I'm not saying one is right or wrong, but it's something you should just be aware of.
So technically, in my layman terms, if I'm buying an NFT, which is the digital right to something, I want to buy it from my wallet. So all of it is on the blockchain, which means I have to buy it with crypto.
Exactly, because when you buy it with crypto, you are exchanging crypto for this NFT, this token, to now sit in your wallet, to be owned by you, as opposed to buying a thing and then being told that you own it. It's like, well, do you actually own it? Can we verify that that token is in your wallet on the blockchain?
So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of going in the decentralized system if I buy an NFT with cash, because you're back to some kind of third party holding it, correct?
Yeah, but technically, let's say I'm a person who has no cryptocurrency and I want to buy an NFT, and they're asking me to pay in Bitcoins, right? Let's just make an assumption there. I'll technically convert my US dollars to Bitcoin and then exchange that Bitcoin for the NFT. So what a bunch of people are doing right now is just sort of break that middle path and just exchange money directly for an NFT. And this NFT is transferred to your wallet, so you technically do own it in the end, but you just sort of trust the platform in the middle because it's not executed by what we call a smart contract. So let's say, I'll just quickly explain what that means. So a smart contract is something that just gets executed by itself, right? It's completely automated. So a contract can say something like, if Sal sends me $500, send this NFT to her, right? So let's just say that's the contract. And it gets executed, and you know for a fact that it'll get executed because you can literally see the code there, right? On the other side, if I have to swap $500 directly instead of changing it to crypto and then running the smart contract, I'll have to trust the central platform to actually make the swap, right? So it sort of defeats the whole purpose in that way. But technically, I personally think that you still get the ownership. And an area where I see this a lot right now is gaming. I don't know if there are any gamers here. So when you play games, you buy a lot of stuff there in the game. And let's say particular outfits, certain swords and so on, which you use in the game. Technically, you don't own them, right? The gaming company owns it, right? So now what people are trying to do is create an NFT out of these things and transfer it to your wallet. So you actually own it and the gaming company cannot take it back. So initially, the gaming company could technically take it back. They wouldn't because of, the mutual agreement that you have, but technically they could. Now they cannot. So in those kind of areas, because they don't want the gamers to run away just because you're pushing them into crypto, they're trying to introduce just using what we call fiat currency, which is basically just US dollars and other currency that we use. They're trying to use this normal fiat currency to exchange for NFTs. So it's just another thing that's coming up, but I mean, I'm still in favor of using crypto in that particular sense, just because it's just secure. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So clearly, the last 10 minutes, I'm going to have the other speakers is going to go to Seema and Karen, which we're going to walk you guys through Midchain, which is their company. And for those of you who want to set up a wallet, they will help you do that, because that's our promise to you tonight, is if you want to walk out of here with your crypto wallet, you're going to walk out of here with your first crypto wallet. But I'm going to, go to Dane and Rebecca before I turn it over to Seema and Karen, because some of you might not want to set up your crypto wallet. Rebecca, I'm going to start with you and then I'm going to go to Dane. What is, because, you're developing a whole onboarding into this space, right? So I want you to think of this audience and the questions I did not ask and the questions that should be answered for anyone looking at this space right now. What is it that you would want them to know? And you can kind of take your couple of minutes on here to share in designing this whole onboarding. What is it do you want people to know that they should know before they go into the space?
Well, I think for me, I would just elaborate on the last point that I made, and perhaps to frame it more clearly is the difference between a custodial and a non-custodial wallet. So when you're setting up a wallet for the first time, you will need to make the decision of where you set up the wallet. Of course, there are different products and exchanges, and there's no one size fits all. It might also depend on where you are in the world, right? Do they support you bringing in money from your national currency? So you have all these decisions to make, but one of them that is really important is, do I own the money myself? And it's basically what I just said. So custodial just means that your funds are in custody by some third party. That third party might be a crypto exchange, it might be a wallet provider. And non-custodial is obviously the opposite. Non-custodial means that you are the only custody of your wallet. Now, the thing with non-custodial is that although you might be in more control, it is a little bit more complicated. And so if you're a newcomer, oftentimes people will not want to do a non-custodial wallet because it means that they are the only ones that can control their money. If something goes wrong, if you give up your private key, which is kind of like the equivalent of a password. If you lose it, for example, you lose your crypto. And I'm sure you've heard these horror stories of people saying, oh, I have, millions of dollars in crypto, but I lost the password and basically I can't access it. That's an example of a non-custodial wallet. You rarely are responsible for yourself. So it's a big deal. And if you're doing it, make sure that you understand what you're doing. Make sure that you are practicing all the steps of safety in terms of backing up your password, placing that in a safe place, and that sort of thing. So I hope that, as you're being onboarded to these wallets, that's just something you'll keep in the back of your mind.
I love that. Actually, I didn't know that. So that was super, super helpful, like for most people. And what about you, Dane? What would be the thing that you absolutely would want the audience to know in reference to the space? Something I didn't ask, something that, you know, if it were your grandmother, Dane, wanting to set up her first wallet and you want her to be cautious about something or look out for this or what currency to buy, what is the thing you would want to make sure everybody knows?
Well, the first thing would have been exactly what Rebecca just said, because I think that's one of the biggest game changers in crypto. But the other thing is, currently as crypto stands, the user experience is really not refined. So we're very used to, in the Web 2 world, applications on the web being very user-friendly. They walk you through all the processes and it's very easy to use. Crypto is still in a stage where it can be a little scary and you can actually make mistakes and lose money without you even knowing it. And so that's one of the things I would say the easiest way to learn about crypto, in my opinion, is doing it. Only in the case that you have the money that you're completely comfortable with losing, because it is a very dangerous and unsecure market sometimes. But the easiest way to learn is to do it, but taking it step by step, because like I said, there's a lot of ways in crypto and there's a lot of scams that you could easily lose your money. So my advice would be to just start very, very simple with buying money or crypto on an exchange, right? So that would be where they have your crypto in their wallet, right? Start your own wallet, maybe take that crypto from the exchange off of the wallet, and already doing those two steps, you will learn about what gas fees are, which is a whole nother thing, right? What transaction fees are. And as you start to go, you start to learn on your own, because you could do a lot of reading about crypto and it just doesn't take all the time, because some of these concepts are better in practice than they are.
What's a gas fee, by the way?
A gas fee is a fee that gets paid anytime the validators in the blockchain get called upon to essentially validate a transaction, right? So in Ethereum,
yeah, but what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Come on, like, what are numbers are we talking
I'll try
about?
to explain it. I'll try to explain it more simple. So if I wanted to send a transaction to you using Ethereum, right? There's this series of computers that we were talking about earlier called the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, that essentially uses this computer computational power to validate this transaction, right? It's to say that my transaction to you is secure and it's really a thing that's happening, and that's this computational power that goes towards it. Now, when that system gets triggered, that costs computational power, which gets rewarded to the people who are actually doing that system, right? So the people who are putting the computational power, they get rewarded, and in exchange, you have to pay that fee. And so when
is it like a transaction fee, like $1, $2,
exactly.
that kind of thing? Okay, all right. So
exactly.
it's kind of like taking money out of the ATM fee.
I should have started with transaction fee, but that's what happens. Yeah.
So instead of it going to the bank, it goes to the bunch of different people who are helping with the transaction.
Exactly.
So sort of checking the transaction.
So it's really kind of like the old time ATM fee, right? Every time you took money out, you got a fee. It's now called the gas fee, right?
A lot easier to explain it that way. So.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a parallel in the world that we know. Okay, is there anything else you want us to know, Dane?
No, like I said, just be careful and start one step at a time, because like I said, those things, gas fees, for example, in Ethereum right now, a gas fee could be anywhere between $60, $100 per transaction. And so if you're not careful and doing things step by step, then you could end up spending $100 on a transaction fee where you were trying to send someone $5, right? And that's a tough lesson to learn that most people starting in crypto have to learn on their own. So yeah, I think you have to.
Do you have to learn that on your own if you'd go the custodial route versus non-custodial, or would they tell you before? I'm just curious.
I think maybe Seema's probably better in managing this, but I think it's a little bit more hand holding, I would say.
Okay. All right. Okay. Junofy, before I give it to Seema, what about you? What is the one thing you would want someone to know in terms of getting involved in this space?
I would say just invest the money that you're okay losing. So I have some friends who put in a lot of money, their savings in crypto. I don't think that's smart. So, you know, just be aware of the fact that this is still a relatively new market and there's very few people involved. So the prices can go up and down. And especially when it's not the top currencies, when it's those smaller currencies, be extremely careful because it can go really up and down. I just saw a currency which went from $80 to $80,000 within 20 hours and then went back to $8 the next day. So, you know, you have to be really, really careful when you're playing around with these things. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think basically, I mean, if anything coming from me that I didn't know anything in the space, you know, I calculated in my mind that I spent $500 on all kinds of junk every month. And instead of spending it on junk, I started collecting Bitcoin. And I think that's probably one of the things you might want to do in your brain. And I have to tell you, I've literally forgotten about it. Like I haven't even looked at it in the longest while. So it's one of those things I think to keep in mind. And does anyone have any opinion, whether it's our speakers or the audience, before I give it to Seema, about index funds? There are new index funds now, which, you know, buys a series of crypto. So some of the good ones, some of the new ones. Does anyone have any feedback on, is the best way to get into the crypto market by investing in index funds versus direct funds themselves? Anyone? Rebecca, I see you smiling. You're on.
Yeah,
you're
I
on...
think so just for people who don't know what an index fund is, it's basically like a basket of assets. So instead of, you know, I think we've actually had this question a couple of times of, you know, well, which crypto should I buy? You can buy a basket of them. And so the idea is that you get exposure. So the basket could be, let's say, the top 10 coins, or maybe it could be the top 10 coins under a specific theme, for example. So maybe you're really interested in, I don't know, the gaming community. There's a lot that's going on with crypto and gaming and, you know, sort of incentivized networks. So that could be a way to get exposure. And it basically means that you don't have to make the decision yourself of when should I sell and what should I buy. It would all be programmatically be done for you, which is kind of like, you know, if you think of a traditional exchange traded fund, think of the S&P 500 that you might invest in. The concept is very much the same, except this is just for crypto. I think it can be useful for newcomers as well, because there's a lot of complexity in deciding where you put your money. And the nice thing is that there are experts who have often done a lot of the work for you, and you can just buy their basket of assets.
Perfect. So I'm going to turn it over now, you know, and before I turn it over to everyone, I want to certainly thank all of our speakers and everyone for being here. I mean, you know, I promised everyone different perspectives on this topic, and you truly have given some different perspectives on the topic. So I'm going to turn it over now to Seema and Karen. Hold on, let me remove the pin. Let me find Karen. Where is Karen in my pin? And you guys are going to talk about, Karen, I'm going to put you on pin right now. So you're going to be, yeah, I'm going, why don't you guys, I don't know if you want to share your screen, or how is it, would you like to share with the community in terms of opening up there by a show of hands, first of all, how many of you are interested in setting up a wallet today? Okay, I'm seeing hands raised. Okay. So we have participants on here, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have participants on here who want to set up wallets, guys. So can I see Karen and Seema? You want to go through in terms of setting up wallets? Do you need to share your screen, or what do you need to do?
Sure, I can do that. I have my demo user set up. Let's go through that.
Okay, so who can share when someone else is sharing? I put all participants, so I think you can, if you would like, in terms of sharing your screen. And before I do that, in terms of sharing the screen, let me see all the faces of everyone on here. Let me see faces. Can I see some faces, please? Faces. Kishan, there we go. All right, how are we doing right now? How are we doing right now is, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm really good. Can I see with the fingers, please? How are we doing right now? How are we doing right now? Everybody, fingers, please. Fingers, please. My speakers. There we go. Okay, we're doing okay. All right, go ahead, Seema and Karen, in terms of sharing your screen. How long do you guys need to go through this, Seema and Karen?
It's not quite long. I'll just run you guys through the onboarding process. And Maybe I'll just give a general overview of our company. So just before I share, or you know what, let me just share the screen and then.
So Karen, just so everyone has an expectation of time, is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes in terms
I
of
think
your...
I think it's a maximum of 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and share your screen. And those of you interested in getting onboarded, please do. Those of you who already have your crypto wallet, wholeheartedly to you. Let's go. Ladies, you're up.
Are you able to see my screen or?
We are. We are.
Okay, cool. So of course, I'm going to be using a demo here.
Okay. So what's your
right.
website, first of all, if we want to go set up a...
Okay, let me just take this off just a second. Sorry.
No problem. Is it midchains.com?
Yes. So if you visit midchains.com,
yeah,
it will lead you to our homepage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And where you can start signing up is here in the red button, just there.
Registration.
Yes.
Okay.
However, I'll just run you through here. So we registration, and then of course you're gonna have to run through. Since we are a fully, just to note this on the side, since we are a fully regulated crypto custodian platform here in Abu Dhabi, we fall under the ADGM, Abu Dhabi Global Market, and we are regulated by the financial regulators, the FSRA. And when I say regulated, this means we run through the full process of KYC. It's very much like opening a bank account, let's say. We're going to be asking for documents and so. I'll run through this with you. So we also accept both individuals and entities here. And we'll just run through these questions fast. So are you at least 18 years of age? Then that's yes. Have you been convicted, found guilty? This is the typical questions that you would be asked. I mean, in any, I think, properly KYC platforms. Okay, have you ever been declared? That's a no. I have read and agreed. Of course, you may feel free to read our privacy statement and data protection here. You have to agree to it anyways. That's a next.
We have a question from Maxine going, is it like a brokerage company, your company?
No, we do not have a license for brokerage. So we basically offer you to trade on our platform. You are the one who is responsible to sell and trade, like sell and buy your own crypto. We're custodians, so we create the wallets on your behalf, and then we integrated banking into our platform where you can add a bank account, and you can just trade it and request for withdrawal of funds to your bank account.
I have a question for you guys, for anyone to answer on here. How is this different from, you know, for example, I noticed on some of my bank accounts, I can now buy and sell cryptocurrency in my regular bank account. So would that be different from this?
Sorry, I didn't get you again.
So some of my regular trading bank accounts, I've now noticed they're also allowing me to buy and sell crypto. So, so are they custodians, or are they? Why is that different from this?
I'm not quite sure of your question.
Okay, so my regular bank account where I trade stock. Okay. So where I trade my regular stock, you know, a bank
and
called.
They create. And they
yes,
create
and I can trade. I can buy and sell crypto.
You might be able, maybe you might be able to trade, but do they create wallets for you? I mean, if
I don't know. So that's what I'm asking you the question. I guess wallets is a different thing than just buying and trading crypto.
Yeah, because it's not necessary that you have a wallet if you're trading, right? So, I mean, so basically, like in our platform, let's say, you onboarded with us and you already own a crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to you just want to transfer funds and trade on our platform, and then take your dollars out. Then there's no need for a wallet, right? So you can put in $100, trade it, make $200, take out your $200. There's no wallets at all necessary in this case.
Okay.
We give you the choice. So we're custodian anyways. So I can run through it now as we speak.
Go ahead before I ask the questions.
Okay. So once you onboard, you just provide your name, your last name, similar to the passport copies. So it has to be exactly as per your passport copies. You can put in your email, let's say. This is just a disposable email. Testing, okay. You'll get a link here that confirms your email, takes you to a different. There you go. This is an email confirmation. Confirm your email, and you'll have to run through the questions. What industry you're in? Let's say automotive in this case. Yep. You'll have to declare it, if any. Source of wealth. So are you an employee? Are you a business owner? Inheritance? You're here for investment, let's say. Where do you want me to work at? Let's say media one. Address, Abu Dhabi, Dalma Street. Of course, you can put on position. Let's say sales. Your funds, so your source of funds. I'm working in the UAE. My salary is of course here, right? So that's a no. Are you currently the subject of any proceeding related to criminal offense? That's no. Are you currently a party to any civil proceedings? That's a no. And then we ask you like a few questions here. What's your appetite? Is it low? Is it medium? I would say low. How long have you traded in the last 12 months? I'd say under 10 times. What is the intended purpose of virtual assets? Income. I want to make more income. Who doesn't? What is your annual income? Let's say that. And what's your net worth? Savings, maybe. Do you have any experience or qualifications? Maybe I'd say no, for example. You'd have to, of course, sign or declare this risks notification that you are aware of what you're gonna be getting yourself into, okay?
Sure.
Right, you submit. How do you plan to fund your account? So it's either through fiat currency. You want to send some currencies to the platform and then trade it.
What is fiat currency? Fiat
It's
currency?
like currency, just USD dollars is a fiat currency. AED dirhams is a fiat currency.
Okay.
Right? So let's say I want to fund. I don't have any existing virtual assets. And if you do, you can also add in your wallet address if you have any.
Sure.
Again, your name has to match your bank account details. You're giving the real details here. Let's say that. Let's say this is an Ajman. My account number, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Your IBAN. Right. This is optional. You submit. So you have the client agreements here. It tells you what we allow and what we don't allow. We don't do brokers, for example. We don't do third-party deposits or fund transfers, and so on and so forth. Of course, it's important to read as it's something you're going to agree to.
I have
Same
some
for our-
questions for you. What are your charges of opening, maintaining an account with Midchain? Is it per transaction, funds in or funds out?
No, so we currently do not charge any fees and no transaction fees either. So just a second, I have a cat that I don't know if you guys can hear them.
That's okay. Are you there?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
So we don't charge anything. You can deposit money from any bank account, either in dirhams or dollars. We accept both. It's just a conversion, the exchange rate, if applicable. So that's the correspondent banks. That's of course not charged by us. It's charged by the correspondent bank again. Once you withdraw money, we currently don't charge. We're about to put on some charges there, but they're going to be about 45 dirhams, $15 maximum. Otherwise, our current fees is only during trading. That's the taker fee. The maximum it gets is up to 40 basis points. And the lowest can get to 10 basis points. So that again, that's the taker fee. So if I'm placing an order and you're buying it, you're the taker, you pay the 40 basis points. And we do give an incentive for the maker in this case. We give about 10% of the taker fees to the maker.
Okay.
It's just
and I have
a little incentive.
Go ahead. Yeah, and we have another thing. How many coins do you offer?
So we currently offer 4 coins, and that's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. USDC, inshallah, hopefully, will be launched probably within a month's time. We have 17 other cryptos in the pipeline. So I'm guessing within a time frame of 2-3 months, we might be launching all 17. But again, I'd like to again emphasize that we are fully regulated by the FSRA. So any kinds of coins or so we're going to launch, we do need the approval from them just before launching it. So yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. This is our trading platform rules. You have to declare any kinds of tax, of course. In this case, in the UAE, if anyone is residing in the UAE, we do not have any tax numbers. So you can choose A. In more than one country, I am not. City of birth, let's say Abu Dhabi. Country of birth, United Arab Emirates. Are you a US reportable for tax purposes? I am not. And of course, please do read declarations, risk disclosures. It is very important. You have to declare your ownership and just sign whatever you can. Submit. So once you submit, it will take you to your personal information page, and that's where the main details, like main documents, are required. So I live in the UAE. My name should be, again, as per passport, it's taken. My date of birth. Next, my address, where you live, and please be very precise where you live. So we need the zone, street number, flat number, or villa number, whatever you guys have. Villa 50. City, Abu Dhabi. You select your region again, your zip code. It picks up automatically the email and the phone number. And then you will need to provide your proof of address. Of course, we do have a link where you can check out all our frequently asked questions. It will also help. It will also help you know what kind of proof of address, or for the tenor, for example, it can't be 3 months or more than 3 months old, for example. I mean, here it gives you quite good information anyways, but yeah. I think
All right.
So-
And also I want for both of you, if you can put your emails in the chat, ladies, because that way everyone who wants to open up their accounts, just because it's getting really, really late, I want to make sure they have your direct email so that way you can work through with them in terms of setting up their accounts. Okay.
Of course, we can provide them with our support email address, and there they can, of course, contact us at any time, whether it's on WhatsApp or raise a support ticket where they need help or customer support.
And
I think
question.
WhatsApp is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. And quick question, when you submit all your personal documents, how quickly does your wallet get approved? A day, 2 days?
So again, this is not a wallet. This is your account with us.
Yeah.
Once you get onboarded and approved by, of course, our compliance team and onboarding team, I think
How
this
long
takes
does that
about,
take? Yeah.
Fairly, if everything is provided as requested, it's within the same day. Like you can get an approval within the same day. Of course, if there are things that they see is kind of, missing or not clear enough or so, they will definitely contact you via either WhatsApp or through an email, and asking you to provide exactly what is needed. And once you do, of course, they will ensure that you are onboarded as soon as possible. And once you log in, basically to your user and password, which also, I don't know if you guys have time, I can show you how it looks like. It's up to you.
I think we want to wrap up in like 4 minutes. So if you can, if you want to show them, how do they set up their wallet? Like if once they log in, that would be great. But we're wrapping up in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Let's just, okay. So I'm logging in as a user. My name is Diana Jones here. Your portfolio is accessed here, and that's where you see your wallets. Once you click on deposit, that's the wallet created for you, like we created on your behalf. So you don't have to worry about any private keys. You don't have to worry about any seed phrase, nothing at all. We're the custodians here. We run it for you. You do the trades whenever you want to withdraw. You can withdraw at any time. The request will be raised to us. We do have some, of course, controls when it comes to thresholds in terms of amounts. It's just because we run under the FSRA, and that's under, it's just abiding by the rules, not that we are doing or stopping you from doing anything at all. So yeah, so this is how your wallet is created, and then you can share this wallet address or QR scan code, and you can share it to your friends, family. You can transfer to other external wallets if you have. You can add wallets as well. So if you have any other wallets, external wallets, MetaMask wallet, anything you have, you can add your address, submit it, and it gets approved. Okay. And that's where you can either withdraw, deposit, whatever you want. You can just do it from here.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay.
You will also have access to your banking details.
Sure.
You can add any kind of bank account that you have. Of course, it's subject to approval. And once it's approved, you can withdraw to and from the bank at any time you want as well.
And can you put money from your credit cards or your debit cards onto the wallet?
Yeah, well, this is the dev. So we're currently working on it, actually. So we're currently working. This can also be launched maybe soon, hopefully soon. We're working on it, so it's still under construction.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So let's stop sharing the screen and let's see if anyone has any questions. I've kept everybody over tonight. Yeah. Can you stop share?
Yeah. What?
Okay, is
No.
everyone here? Yeah, I'm still seeing your share.
How is this possible?
That's okay. That's okay. So for everyone here in the room that's still here, I want to thank you wholeheartedly, all of you. So let me see faces. 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 For all of you, wholeheartedly, I want to thank each and every one of you. For those of you interested in wallets who are still here, how many of you learned something new in this session today? How many of you learned? Yeah, we all got something. We all learned something. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? That's what Glee community is all about. We all learned something. I want to thank all of you wholeheartedly for being here. Please, make sure Seema and Karen, can you please put your information in chat? The support, so that way anyone can contact you guys, right? That's our promise to you, that you knew how to set it up. So it's not difficult. So I think the key takeaways is it's not hard. Going with custodial is probably the best route for new beginners who don't know anything what they're doing. Number two, don't put your life savings into it, put your coffee money, right? That's number two. Number three, I think we've learned about it is that you need to do it to really learn all of these fees and all of these things that they're telling you about. So it's one of those things that you don't learn by reading. You learn by actually, putting that first $25 or $50 or $100 coffee money for, I don't know, a month, 2 months, and going, you know what, let me figure out this NFT thing, or I figure out this crypto thing, and let me figure out this token thing. And I encourage all of you wholeheartedly, right? This is where the future is headed, whether we like it or not. So go out there, do, get involved, experiment, ask questions, be prudent. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you wholeheartedly for attending, all of you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.